You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming. It's 70 on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with the Let's Play episode of Solstice Eve. So let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. The glow begins dissipating. Care to explain why you're trying to destroy guild equipment? Eh? The trace collector. Look at it. I look at it. It seems a bit rattled, but otherwise fine. I hope you don't believe that to be how it's supposed to work. Shit. Wonder if I should defend myself. If you were to keep on pumping mana into it like a brute, you'd just overload it. I see. What is it that you're even doing here? Just a whim of mine. I figured that learning more about wands would help me with my own creations. Creations? You're the guild's financial officer. I dabbled on the side, tinkering with magic circles and whatnot. I suppose that's fair. It's not as though I don't have my own research on the side. Yeah, research that eats into time you could spend actually doing your job. You should hear what people say about you behind your back. Of course. Awkward silence. That aside, the acquisition of knowledge certainly isn't anything to besmirch, so I'd be glad to help you here if needed. The lion leans in closer to examine the trace collector. Ah, I see what's going on here. You haven't disassembled the wand first. The disassembler's necessary? Not always, but it certainly helps. If you want to get a clearer reading, you should only put the wand's core within. In order to allow for better flow of mana, most of a wand's body is made of insulating material, wood in your case. It disturbs the readings. I see. Without so much as a word, Goran opens up the trace collector and grabs the wand from within. He pauses to examine it for a moment before turning to the disassembler. The machine is comprised of one large glass case surrounding a small wooden slab with an alcove for the wand at its top. There are multiple metallic attachments to the case which are covered all over with magic circles and grooves whose purpose I can't entirely discern. After putting the wand within the alcove, Goran places a palm on one of the grooves and activates the machine. The magic circles to the sides of the wand glow a light yellow as it begins floating lightly. Invisible forces act upon it as it begins splitting into pieces, suspended in the air. Goran grabs a keystone from within, the wand's core. Now, this should be much more amenable to the trace collector. Goran slides the keystone into the trace collector and starts feeding the machine his mana. It lightly hums as it whirs to life once more, and the outline of the magic circle appears once more, this time much clearer than before. I breathe a sigh of relief at the previous issue only being a matter of an experience, anxious to see the results of the diagnosis. Seeing what magic's been casted from Shell's wand before her death is the best lead I've got. What the... However, the magic circle that's displayed is far from ordinary. Any experienced mage of Shell's caliber would have known to draw magic circles that were smooth, sleek, and precise. No line out of place. This was nothing but that. Instead, the circle before us was much more reminiscent of a small child's sketches. Uneven lines, inexplicable sigils, and no hint to its purpose. Nothing that aligns with proper convention. Goran furrows his brows. What's the meaning of this, Cantor? I don't know. Goran runs his hand across the edge of the magic circle in a clockwise motion, pushing the trace collector to go back and view magic circles from further in the wand's past. Nothing happens. Could the trace collector be broken? This doesn't make any sense. You of all people should know how much we pride ourselves on the quality of our equipment. This wand's the problem. But this doesn't make sense. Well, I do doubt that this spell was casted by Shell herself. That being said, I would assume this wand has been with you for the past 2 months, so you should be aware of where it has been. So he knows. Of course he knows. Am I going to have to explain myself to him? I'm not doing anything wrong here, but I don't want to advertise my investigations to the masses here. It certainly doesn't look good. As I ponder my next move, the door to the laboratory opens and I hear a familiar voice. Goran, you here? Still setting stuff up. It stops when the dwarf's eyes turn to look at me. Oh. What's he doing here? Fantastic. Of everyone in the guild, I have no doubt that Vera Ebresk is the person who despises me the most. As Shell's longtime friend, it's no surprise. She's already made it quite clear how... Oh, Vera's... Okay. I guess it's going by Lord of the Rings rules. Female dwarves do also have beards. Okay. She's already made it quite clear how little she thinks of me, though I can't say for certain if she were to find out about this investigation. Well, I'm sure she'll have that much more to say about me. Oh, Vera, Cantor was just helping me with figuring out the budget for the next mana amplification experiment. I've been explaining the importance of it to him. We're so close to reaching a breakthrough, after all. Vera raises a brow. Well, we found a promising new direction to take, but I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't be against more funding, though. The keystone shortage is only getting worse. After all, I'm sure you'd agree that researching ways to make the most of every single one is important, Cantor. Of course. Bullshit. Every piece of evidence I've seen indicates that these mana amplification experiments have been doomed from the get-go, and every gold coin that goes towards them is a gold coin wasted. If you really wanted to make the most out of every single keystone, you'd figure out how to repurpose existing keystones and magic circles in smarter ways. The guild halls are chock full of keystone lights, and anyone with half a brain would know that there's no reason to use those over simple lanterns, other than pointless vanity, that is. But it's hard to do much about that by this point. Magic circles are thoroughly engraved into those keystones, so they can't be used for much other than light by this point. Not that that matters much right now. I should simply be thankful for the save from Goran and act as though I have no other opinion on the matter. Well, there's still time before we can complete the experiment, so don't get excited too soon. I just came in to check on you, so I'll go have my lunch now. See you soon, Goran. And with that, she turns to leave. I breathe a sigh of relief. Lucky she was just checking in. Might have become a problem otherwise. Yeah. I look away, somewhat embarrassed. I won't pry about the matter if you'd rather not talk about it, but do know that I'm here to lend an ear should you need it. I understand that your relationship with Shell was complicated. Thank you. This line is just as inexplicable as always. I'm not planning on taking him up on the offer, but it's a surprisingly kind one nonetheless. Do you have any idea what might have happened to the wand? The lion shrugs. It's highly unlikely for something like this to happen naturally. The wand's core doesn't seem damaged either. I see. Which would mean that someone wiped all past traces from the wand and tried to cast that malformed spell on their own. Even so, barring the initial investigations by the guard, the wand should have been idle in Shell's room this whole time. Could one of the guards have tampered with the evidence and purposefully wiped its core clean? Could it have happened by accident? Alternatively, someone could have broken into my home and wiped the evidence from the wand at any moment over the past 2 months. I shudder at the thought of such an invasion occurring under my nose. Darwin's concern from yesterday seems more and more likely to me now. The unnatural circumstances of Shell's death, the unusual results from the wand. This is all off. But why? What reason would someone have to attack Shell and to do this? Uncertainty looms over me, but I can't allow myself to do nothing about this. I need to talk to Darwin. He's likely to be able to figure out what happened on the guard's end of things. If I find more reason to believe that there was wrongdoing, it'd be helpful to have him by my side. I jot down a copy of the magic circle and turn to Goran. Well, I won't disturb you any longer. Thank you very much for the assistance. Gladly. The lion's expression remains neutral the whole time. I pluck the core of Shell's wand out of the trace collector, reassemble it, and leave the laboratory, thoughts swirling all the while. I should probably be back in my office by now, but work can wait. This is more important. I wouldn't be able to focus on it anyways. Besides, it's somewhat nice to be outside during the day so late during winter. The days are getting shorter and shorter by the moment. I stop in front of the guard garrison at the edge of the city, somewhat intimidated by the entrance to the building. It's not the type of environment I'm used to. Shouting and clashing of swords can be heard from within. The guards training? A part of me hopes Darwin would just coincidentally exit through the gate and I won't have to bother with calling for him. No such luck. Instead, one of the guards by the gate, a hulking bull, calls out to me. You, mage, what's your business here? Got some eggnog mixed in with my coffee this morning. It's damn good. I'm here to talk with someone. He should be inside. Darwin, if you recognize the name. Seems as though he does, because the bull immediately beams at the name. Oh, hey, so you're a friend of Darwin's. Sure thing, just step right in. He should be running some trainees ragged right about now. That sounds slightly concerning, but given the current situation, I can't bring myself to make a snide comment about it. What? Concerned for them? He just expects the best of them, but he means well. If you say so. As I pass through the gate, I make my way into an open courtyard, sandwiched between two buildings that are built as extensions of the garrison's walls. I'm gonna say though, if this is his neutral face, he comes across as quite hostile. Also, his stance is pretty guarded as well. The crossed arms, yeah. Yeah, he does not look like a happy camper. Like, I've noticed that since the beginning of the VN. He just kind of looks like he's upset all the time. There, spread throughout the area, are multiple pairs of guards, engaged in what seem to be duels. Though they're only using wooden swords, each clash reverberates throughout the courtyard and makes a strong impression. All the while, the guards yell and grunt, pushing themselves to the brink. Loudest of all, however, is Darwin. He's shouting words of encouragement and pushing them further, alternated with comments on various guards' forms and discipline. Rainskin, put more weight into your swings, Darwin turns, eyes widening at the sight of me. Oh, keep at it, man, I'll return soon. With that, he runs over to me. Cantor, good to see you. What brings you here? Blech, this positivity makes me feel even worse for how yesterday ended. Well, first I wanted to apologize for yesterday. It was unbecoming of me. No, I'm the one at fault. No, stop, just let me apologize without making a fuss about it, please. I'd feel even worse if I couldn't. Though, I came for a different reason. Well, it's related, but I went and, Shit, I can't get my thoughts straight. Getting my point across shouldn't be so hard. Hey, don't worry. Just breathe. You can take your time if you need to. Having to be calm like this is embarrassing, but it works. Thank you. After yesterday, I decided to look into things a bit. I ran some diagnostic tests on Shell's wand, and since it stood out in the scene of the death, I wanted to check out if something had happened to it, and what spells it's last casted and whatnot. What I found was wrong. It's a bit hard to explain, but essentially it's as though the wand was entirely replaced. Supposedly it's been used to cast only one spell ever, but that spell seemed entirely made of gibberish. Naturally, that's impossible. Shell was a proper mage. Something happened to the wand. Darwin furrows his brows. I won't bother with any more details, but as far as I know, the only time during which anyone other than me had access to the wand was when the guards ran their little investigation and took it. I hoped you could look into things a bit, see who was involved in the investigation, who had their hands on it, if they might have done something. I know it's a long shot and somewhat of an annoyance, but... No, this is totally fine by me. At the very least, I could check the records we have stored and see if I could find something. If something did happen and I were to do nothing, I'd feel terrible. Though I might need more guidance on what to look for, since I'm sure as you can tell, I'm not much of a magical type. Heh. Well, you're somewhat of a magical beast, at the very least, being a werebear and all that. True. As far as what to look for, the main point of concern is the wand's core. It's the big keystone near its tip. It's what makes a wand, and it was either tampered with, damaged during the investigation, or just replaced entirely. I see. I'll be on it then. Thank you. It shouldn't take too long. So, want to meet up at the Clinging Camber in 3 days during the evening? Sounds good. In the meantime, I'll be conducting my own investigation and talking with people who might know more about what Shell was up to in recent times. If someone had a reason to attack her, then they should have some sort of lead. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. And check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you on Above and Beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our 3 gold tier patrons, Zeke, Toby, and Blue Wolf Alpha. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if you want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our unsafe for work content. It's as little as $5. If y'all don't want to donate to our Patreon, you can always donate using Super Thanks on YouTube. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!